Have you fallen down the cottage industry rabbit hole yet? Well, if not, buckle up, Alice, and click on over to the description in the show notes and sign up. Then you can get ready for the most fun induction into the cult of all things yarn and fiber. This will include, but not limited to, free yarn, free ebooks, patterns, coupons, and much more. You don't want to miss out.
You are listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts, a podcast featuring two crafty besties who love true crime and a good cup of joe.
Hey, amateur sleuth. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Heidi.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Here we are.
Yes.
For a fabulous day.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Was I at my standing desk last time we recorded or no?
No. Are you on your standing one now?
I am.
Oh, now I feel lazy.
I'm standing up. I moved to the other desk over there.
Oh, yeah. No, last time we recorded, you had just gotten it set up, but it was not in its place yet.
It is in its new home.
Yay.
Yay.
I thought your angle looked a little different.
I know. I'm like way up high. Normally I'm like... If I just did this the whole time, that would be really uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure my quads would give out.
Probably. All right.
Word.
Yes.
It's been so long, we don't know what we're doing. That's how that's where we're at. We're like, what's happening?
What's happening? Yeah. So, you're going to give us a underrepresented missing person case.
Yes. And I went a little vintage.
Well, vintage, yeah.
But it's historical.
That's good because it's kind of I'm back to another historical event.
Right. So this one, I decided to go like as far back as NamUs would go with Indigenous people cases. Mm-hmm. And they only started creating NamUs cases, I guess, in like 2013.
Right. They just started compiling them and putting them on the internet.
Yeah. But this one goes back to May 19th of 1968.
Okay.
So, like the mid to late 1900s.
Yes.
For all the Z's out there.
For all of those millennials.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Jesse Matthews, American Indian Alaska Native, male. At the time of his disappearance, he was 48 years old. He would be 103 now.
Okay.
5'8" to 5'10", 150 to 170 pounds. And as I said, the date of last contact was May 19th, 1968 in Spokane, Washington. Here's the thing about this one. This is why it got me. Missing person's car was located near Bowl and Pitcher. I'm guessing those are roads in Spokane.
Yeah, probably.
Which is Riverside State Park in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
But witnesses indicated that the victim was murdered. And they identified a suspect, but he or she, I guess I should say, has since died. So...
So whatever happened to
exactly
Jamie died.
Jesse. Yes.
Or Jesse.
Yes, Jesse Matthews.
Whatever happened died with the possible assailant.
Yeah, and it doesn't name anyone in this, obviously. Jesse had black hair, brown eyes, and that's all the information we have. We don't even have a picture of Jesse.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there listening knows of someone who knows of someone who knows of somebody who, I don't care how many, whatever.
Yeah.
Knows of
if you know
somebody
something, please
now
let them
could be the
know.
time to like speak up, say something, get this case off of NamUs. That'd be good. Get some, closure maybe for Jesse's family.
Yep.
That could be nice too. It's never too late to come forward.
Never too late.
That's it. That's all I got.
Well, thank you for that.
Hopefully I'm frozen like this.
You are. You
Sweet.
are. Yeah.
Sweet. It's a good look.
It is a good look. Heidi, you can't be gorgeous all the time.
It's a good thing I snort a lot. And
I just snorted.
I know.
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Thank you. Keeping it real.
Yes.
Let's talk about our hats for a second. Hold, please. Everybody.
Oh, yes.
If you're not on YouTube, don't be a shitbag of hats. Kristen and I are totally twinning right now.
We are fabulously twinning.
On my end, my hat is backwards.
But
Kristen's isn't, which is really fucking funny.
It's the opposite for you. And then when they come out on YouTube,
it'll all be normal.
The right way. Both of it'll be normal. I found that out with some shirts we were wearing. We were twinning something, and I was like, oh, but it'll be flipped so you can read what our hats say.
Apparently, in our 40s, we're not afraid to twin.
Heck no.
I mean, don't be a shitbag. Come on, had to be done.
Had to.
And it's red, white, and blue.
It's very lovely and wonderful, and I'm super excited about it. I have all three of our hats in different colors.
I don't.
You have taught what? No, words are hard.
Words are hard, and so far
I have words are hard. Yeah, I have words are hard and ta-ta for now.
Yes.
Yes. So we are here. I took a little trip. So my coffee is from Charleston.
Yeah.
And they have their own, it's this company or this restaurant.
South Carolina, correct?
Yes, sorry. Charleston, South Carolina,
because
folks.
You don't want to go to Charleston, West Virginia. I'm just saying.
Probably not.
I've been there.
But I spent last weekend there. So this is the coffee. They have their own little brand. It was a brunch spot we went to, and it was delicious. And the staff was very wonderful. And I noticed while drinking my coffee there that my coffee never got cold. So I got the mug because it keeps your coffee hotter longer.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. I was like, wow, my coffee is still hot. And it wasn't like I wasn't drinking it fast either because we had a long, luxurious brunch. So anyways, that is my coffee.
Fabulous.
Toast is the restaurant. And my art, before my vacation, was commissioned to do a piece. So it's not a typical it's not typical artwork, but one of my teachers, her boyfriend was having a birthday and she saw my artwork, and so she asked me if I could do a 49ers.
Oh, yes.
So I hope that my little
picture. I hope my little sister Jamie is watching right now. I know she will be eventually. Hi, Jamie.
So
Oh yeah, because you probably don't have it with you because it's gone already.
It's gone already, but I can try and
Send me the picture and I'll put it in our socials too. Oh hell yeah. That's fucking awesome.
and it's 11 by 14, and it's hard because I used a lot of gold and shimmery paint in there, and it's hard to see it in photos.
Well, yeah.
It's way better in person. But like you can kind of
see it. Yeah.
See it a little bit. So I did that, and then I also did Betty Boop.
Boop, boop, boop. That one's harder to see, but oh, there you go. Hold. Cute. Cute.
And it's also shimmery, but I did it in like the vintage black and white, and then some gold paint, and that was really fun to do. So I don't have that piece either because it was a gift.
Word.
So yeah, I
keep on arting.
Gonna keep on at it.
Word.
Trying to. All right, you ready for your trivia?
We'll see. Anything is possible. I might be smart today, but the likelihood is really not there.
Yeah, these ones are kind of hard anyway. What 2005 Eli Roth film set in Slovakia featured the sadistic tortures of the elite hunters?
Lost me. 2005. I was like,
well, they were very popular movies in our early 20s.
Got me. Yeah, I don't.
It's hot. It's Hostel.
Never saw.
Oh, it's wild.
Like I said, there's like a whole span of life where I was just like, movies.
Yeah.
Too busy. I was living in LA then.
Yeah, you were highfalutin.
I wouldn't go that far.
This one is a good one, and you might get it. But what TV show remake is based on a 1985 movie starring Michael J. Fox as a high school basketball player? Do you remember what movie he was in that was clearly not Back to the Future?
Oh, hold on.
We're dealing with horror, remember?
It was a werewolf.
Teen
situation.
Wolf.
Thank you.
Yes.
Teen Wolf.
Got
that was a good movie too.
It was. It was.
Michael J. Fox.
I love him.
Me too.
Okay. Braining is hard.
Lately, I've been realizing I might need some reading glasses.
I have been so mad at my whole eye situation. I
keep having to go.
I now have to I live with my reading glasses now on the top of my head because I have to use them so much.
Yeah.
And it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
All right. What is the name of the evil company in the Resident Evil movie franchise?
Well, fuck. You know, I should know this one because I fucking love Resident Evil.
I know. I have all 9 movies on DVD.
The video games were actually really fun too. Yes, video games, y'all. I don't know the name of the company. I don't know.
The Umbrella Corporation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like kind of an obvious thing.
Yes. What astrological event occurs during the 2017 movie Veronica that causes the character to invoke harmful spirits?
Never saw it.
I just like this one because it includes witchcraftish type. It's like it was a solar eclipse.
A solar eclipse?
Yeah.
I mean, cool.
Who knew? Who knew?
I mean, that would make sense because it's going to get like super fucking dark.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where is my thing? There we go.
Uh-oh.
No. Just a.
Where's your thing? I always assume brain. Like,
yeah, brain.
oh,
Where's the brain?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, trigger warnings for this episode are just haunted stories, hanging execution, and paranormal activity.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm busting out the knitting.
This past weekend, which was normally our recording weekend, I had a romantic getaway with David. And as I said before, we went to Charleston, South Carolina. Luckily, you and I had gotten together and we recorded a few episodes, so we were a little bit ahead. But here we are recording again. Yippee!
Yes.
We're not on our regular recording day, so I premise this with there's a little bit of extra noises because I got the children's and all the stuff going on out there.
I can't hear them.
So hopefully we will be mellow this morning. Hopefully.
Yeah, nobody's
usually it's mommy. They still like me.
I mean, that's cute.
Anyway, I thought I'd let you know that for our trip, because I am who I am, I'm a weirdo. I created our own ghost tour.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing.
And for all those watching, this is all my things from our trip. Do you see all these papers and notes?
Kristen, holy shit. Okay, hold. I just need to pause you for a second and let you know that's your retirement.
Yeah, right?
You should have a ghost tour company.
So I know. A few weeks ago, I knew I was going on this trip, and I was looking at all the things, and I was like, $35 a person to go on a ghost tour? That is astronomical.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'll just sit here and spend hours upon hours upon hours researching and writing my own. So
I love it.
I understand why maybe people would charge a lot of money for this, because that was like numerous hours of work. But I had fun doing it because it made our trip a little bit more special when we were adventuring through the city.
Right.
So I found some really interesting stories along the way as well. And in this episode, I'm going to share the trip. And at the end, I will give you a bit of true crime that happened at the hands of Lavinia Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing that happened is kind of like this area. There's some lore that goes on with it, right? So our episode today begins with the Gullah people of the Low Country. And the Gullah are African-American ethnic group who reside in Georgia, Florida, North and South Carolina. They mostly inhabit the coast and islands surrounding the area. And due to their historical geographic isolation, their culture and language continued to be strong. Their belief systems stayed intact, and one interesting part of their beliefs were about a creature, much like a vampire, called the Boo Hag.
Oh, yeah. I know about the Boo Hags.
Yes. So the Gullah people believe that we have a spirit and a soul, and when you die, your soul goes to heaven or hell. But your spirit stays behind to guide your children and children's children to worship what makes up hoodoo. If you were an evil person and did evil things, your spirit would stay evil and become a Boo Hag.
Yeah. Bring it.
So, a boo hag is a creature of the night, said to be skinless, with red muscles, blue veins, and eyes like a cat.
That's gross.
They also have they have flowing white hair, similar to what a corpse has, versus like my white hair, as David so lovingly tried to point out. Oh, was it like yours? Said no.
How can
more,
I like
more stringy like a corpse?
I like him even more.
So several generations of Gullah believed that vampires were coming for the dead to feed. And legend says the boo hag uses magic and witchcraft to wreak havoc on innocent folks and cause sleep paralysis. Whenever I hear the sleep paralysis, I think of that meme. There's that picture of a sleep paralysis demon sitting on the bed waiting for you to come to bed, but you're never coming to bed because you're scrolling through social media.
Love it.
During the daytime, the boo hag looks like everyday humans due to the mere fact that they wander about town with the skin of the victim from the night before.
Ew.
Yeah. So more like, what are they? Shapeshifters. Kind of what it sounds like. But really, they're the demon inside the dead person's skin.
Right.
They say that they remove the skin at night and stalk around town looking for their next victim. The boo hag can squeeze through cracks and crevices of windows and walls to get inside your home. Once inside your home, they will come to find you sleeping, then crawl on top of you, suck the air from your lungs, and quote unquote, ride you until the sun comes up, and then escape. And then they escape inside your skin.
Okay, so it's like part succubus, incubus.
Yeah, there's a lot of
part cat, because cats steal your breath at night, which is stealing your soul. And then they're like Buffalo Bill.
Yeah,
your skin. No big deal.
just hanging out in it. There is a Gullah saying that says, "Don't let the hag ride ya," and they have signs throughout.
Are there signs? Seriously?
Yeah, I think so.
Did they have t-shirts?
Like in the tourist attractions.
That's a shirt I would have bought for sure.
Don't let the hag ride ya.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That would have been like, people would have been like, what?
Well, unfortunately, I only had enough for a mug and some coffee for a souvenir for me.
That's fine.
Because my children's and my parents, I had to spend some money on them. And yeah, so traveling is expensive.
It's really fucking expensive.
We tried to do it best we could, but it was still.
We'll invite you when we travel on our excursions to the cabins.
Oh, yes. So back to the boo hag. The boo hag. To keep a boo hag from inviting themselves into your home and riding you at night, you can do a couple of things. One is placing a broom in front of your door of your room, because they are forced to stop and count the bristles.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So you can also put down a brush or a colander, because the colander has all those holes in it. So basically, essentially what you're doing is you're keeping the boo hag busy until the sun comes up.
Yeah.
Right? But the best way to keep them away is to paint the color paint blue on windowsills, shutters, doorways, and even veranda ceilings.
Yep.
The color causes confusion as they think they came across a body of water or stepped into the open sky, which would sweep them away by the wind, and the boo hag would be killed by the sun.
Which is why a lot of houses in the South have blue ceilings on their porches.
Right. And this is why we started with this, because they are throughout town, all over. It's really neat. The color is super, super pretty. It's really like a Robin Eggs blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really, really pretty. And it's the reason they came up with that color was apparently it was cheap paint at the hardware store and you could easily procure it. So, now that you know some lore of the Low Country, let me tell you about some haunted locations we visited. Yes, yes. On East Bay Street, which is one of the main roads in Charleston, you will come across the Old Exchange and Provost Dungeon. It was built in 1771 and was originally a commercial exchange and custom house. Custom house is a port building. So when your ship comes in, you have to go there and pay your port fees. Currently, it's a nonprofit historic site and has exhibits of the American Revolution and colonial Charleston. You can pay $15 a person to go inside, and it's probably a pretty good deal, but we did not.
I wouldn't
pay these. I mean, to really get the effects of hauntings, I guess you really need to go into the buildings.
Yeah.
But, we stayed outside. But during the Revolution, British forces turned the bottom floor or the basement into a military prison, which is why it's known as a provost dungeon. They housed POWs, British words are hard. British soldiers, private citizens, and slaves. The conditions were harsh and terrible, obviously, because, 1700s. Yeah. They held slave auctions at the exchange, and visitors claimed to have been met with screams, dancing orbs, and other figures.
Yikes.
Colonel Isaac Hayne was locked up for treason and hanged in August 1781, and his spirit is said to be trapped inside the building, and some folks claim to hear the sound of his boots walking down the street at night trying to visit his sister, as she had requested when he was walking to his execution.
Damn.
So, while officers were taking him to his execution, he walked by his sister and she said to come and visit her. And he said, "I'll see you later." And then, now he haunts the streets trying to go visit her.
Yikes.
And on various other occasions, visitors claim to have been approached by a staff member dressed in Revolution period attire, only to realize it was not staff, but Isaac Hayne.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that one, Charleston is one of the most haunted cities. Yes. There's so many sightings. And
it's on my list. So is Savannah.
Yeah.
I want to go there so bad.
Well, I would like to now do a ghost tour there, make my own. And then I also have to do Nolans.
Yeah. Been there. Don't know that I'll ever go back to New Orleans.
But
unless it's winter.
Cemeteries and
unless it's winter.
Ghost sightings, there's a lot of it down there. I'm just saying, we could monetize this, make our own ghost tours everywhere.
I mean, it could be funny. But,
yeah. Anyway, our next stop was on Church Street, which is where we went to the Dock Street Theater. And at one time it was a hotel and is said to be the last surviving antebellum hotel, which I didn't look up, but I probably should have. Anyways, it was originally known as a Planters Hotel and erected in 1809 by Mr. and Mrs. Alexander Calder. In 1930, the building needed lots and lots of help and repair, and it was no longer a hotel, but a theater 4 plays.
Okay.
The performances put on at the theater were produced by the Charleston Stage Company, which is the largest theater company in South Carolina.
Okay.
And it's not only a historical building, but one of the most haunted buildings in Charleston. Folks say that when they walk by, they often see the ghosts of lost souls gazing out the windows at night. And the building does have countless ghosts, but 2 ghosts stand out the most, which one is to be Junius Brutus Booth, who was none other than the father of John Wilkes Booth.
Motherfucker.
Who, if nobody knows, was also a stage performer and assassinated Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president.
Murderer. I just looked up antebellum because, like, I feel like you should know this.
Yeah, I know.
But, like, you know, history and I were not a thing back in the day.
I just forgot to look it up.
It just means that it existed before a particular war, specifically the American Civil War. So.
Oh, okay.
It's just old as fuck, basically.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you for.
I figured I'd look it up so your brain isn't going, ah!
Yeah, because you know it would.
I know.
So Junius, he didn't die at the theater, but he was a performer and he performed there. And on one occasion, he tried to kill the manager of the hotel.
Oh.
So due to this traumatic event, when he died, his spirit says to have gone to the theater and haunts it to this day.
Okay.
Yeah. But the most notable and spotted ghost is Nettie Dickerson. Can you guess what Nettie was?
No, I got nothing for you.
You got nothing? Well, she was a local prostitute.
I mean,
and she was a sex worker.
It was the real first job.
Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, there's money to be made.
Oh, yeah. But one night she went outside during a storm in the streets and she was struck by lightning while yelling.
God.
Yeah. She was running down the street yelling at a priest saying, "You can't save me." And we struck by lightning.
Holy shit.
Right?
I mean, it made a believer out of a lot of people, I'm sure.
I'm sure it did. She was known to wear a red dress while she was alive. So now she's spotted wearing her famous red dress on stage and throughout the theater.
The lady in red.
Lady in red.
There's always like a white lady, a red lady.
Oh, yeah.
And a gray lady. Like, they didn't have much color, I guess, in clothings.
Well, they were using natural dyes, so whatever they had was more muted, and red was something that you could make vibrant with your dyes. So that was why it was always a pretty prominent color. It's easiest pigment to brighten up for some reason. So next jaunt.
All right.
We went to Queen Street. You can find a restaurant called Poogan's Porch on Queen Street. And the restaurant is called Poogan's Porch because in 1976, Bobby Ball bought the home and the dog it came with. The dog was named Poogan and eventually passed away. And Bobby buried him on the property, which visitors claim they can see him from time to time.
Yes.
Right? But the real history and hauntings come from the original owners of the home, Zoe and Elizabeth St. Amand. They were spinsters and sisters who lived together for 60 years. Unfortunately, Yeah, but unfortunately, Elizabeth died before Zoe in 1945, and Zoe grew lonely and sad and kind of went crazy. So, for her safety, they moved her into an assisted living home, and she passed away there and was buried in the St. Lawrence Cemetery. Although she didn't die in the home, she does stay attached to it. Her spirit is there and continues to live on. While the owner, Bobby Ball, was renovating the home in 1976 to become a restaurant, Zoe became very angered at this. She was not happy about the renovations and it being a place where people would come to eat. And so when it opened, visitors claimed that they had seen her peering from around the corner staring at them.
Dude, no thanks.
She's also been seen walking into the restaurant as a patron and has been in every part of the restaurant. But since she's an angry ghost, she likes to startle people and has been known to push people around. She also likes to scare women in the bathroom.
That's not nice.
Like when they're washing their hands, staring in the mirror, and she pops up behind them.
Fuck. But only in the mirror.
Yeah. Ugh. I know, right? Weird and creepy. On Broad Street, you can find City Hall. City Hall is just City Hall, but it has a fantastic park next to it. Has a statue of George Washington and beautiful trees and azaleas and park benches. And I probably could have sat there for hours. It's like this round courtyard with just trees and pretty flowers everywhere. Now, of course, azaleas only last for about 2 weeks to a month, but It was pretty when we went there. But City Hall is said to be haunted by a man. He was a general named PGT Beauregard.
Well, that's fancy.
Yes, very fancy. He was a native of Louisiana and a general in the Confederate Army. He was charged with the city's defense during the attacks on Fort Sumter, and many folks have claimed to see the general's ghost overlooking the city council chambers from a second floor balcony.
Okay. Wouldn't want to see that.
No, it'd be kind of weird.
Yeah. I don't ever really want to see a ghost.
Well,
that would be confirming.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Weird stuff.
Yeah.
On Meeting Street, you will find one of the oldest English burial grounds still in existence. It is called the Circular Graveyard, and a lot of the gravestones have disappeared, but more than 500 are still in place. And when we went, a lot of them are like worn away, so they're just blank.
Right.
But the earliest unmarked grave is from 1695, and the earliest inscribed grave is from 1729.
Jeez.
Gravestone markers in the 1600s were originally engraved with a stark skull and crossbones. How awesome is that?
Fuck yeah. You know, we were just talking gravestones last night, actually, because we're building Che's gravestone.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to be all metal. And I'm really excited because guess who gets to learn how to weld?
You.
This girl. I'm so excited.
Just be careful.
Dude.
We know what
that could happen.
No, I just mean the tank. No.
Oh yeah, don't fucking touch the tank, Heidi. If it's falling, don't catch it.
You did save my life that day, though.
Yep. Yeah. I would do it again too. It hurt like a motherfucker, but I would do it again.
Yes.
Right, carry on.
All right. So gravestone markers, I told you about that. They had the skull and crossbones, which is the ancient symbol of death.
Oh, cool.
By the early 1700s, they started to replace the crossbones with wings, and this was called death's head. Which,
Okay.
side note, the death's head moth is my absolute favorite, of course, of all the flying creatures.
Beautiful.
And it got its name in 1809, which is after the gravestone marking. So maybe the gravestones helped the name along with the obvious skull marking on the moth's thorax or body. At the beginning of 1730, the skulls were replaced with faces, and by 1745, the skulls had completely disappeared. By the middle 1700s, they brought in a lot of Romanesque portraitures, and while we were in the graveyard, we found the death's head gravestones.
Mm-hmm.
We found the face with wings, which I kind of call a little cherub. Looks like a little cherub. Or, and also we found the Romanesque portraitures. The only gravestone I didn't find was the actual original skull and crossbone.
Bummer.
I did find one Romanesque portraiture that had beady eyes. It looked kind of creepy, like it was watching me.
Ew.
Oh, yeah. It was a creepy little lady. The cemetery is voted as one of the most haunted in Charleston, and one sighting is of a Revolutionary War soldier. He's very pale and just walks the cemetery, and you can hear voices and whispers at night.
Oof. I mean, I think I can hear stuff all the time anyway, so.
I mean, yeah.
But seeing it
I got a lot
different.
Yeah. Faux show. On King Street, you can find the Library Society, which was established on December 28th, 1748. This building's really neat and very well done on the inside as well. I think the floor is black and white checked.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, it's a really neat building.
How old is it? Did you say?
1748.
So that's, I mean, if the floor is original.
I don't know if it is or not. I didn't do enough.
A lot of marble was used once upon a time.
Right. They probably have redone the flooring.
Yeah.
But it got its start from 19 young men of various trades and professions, united in a mission to seek enlightenment by acquiring the best of the latest books, pamphlets, and periodicals of Great Britain. Oh. So that is how the Library Society became in Charleston. And a major contributor of the library was a man named William Godber Hitson, who was alive from 1838 to 1919. And his ghost is said to appear in the library, and then quickly disappear, almost as if he's always there, but you never know where he'll turn up.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the things he collected are still in the library, too.
Shit's haunted as hell.
Yeah, man. All right. We're getting to some really good, fun stuff.
Bring it on.
On Archdale Street, we came across a graveyard that is attached to the Unitarian Church. Okay. It's the oldest in the South and the second oldest building in Charleston. The church itself has been a National Historical Landmark since 1976. I almost said 1776. 1976. But the church was erected in 1787.
Holy shit.
And the most famous person to haunt this graveyard is said to be Anna Revenel.
Okay.
Now, Anna's story is that she fell in love with a young soldier named Edward Allen. But her dad did not approve of this and had the soldier transferred to Baltimore.
Damn.
After she lost the love of her life, Anna became very sick and ill. Edward heard of this and rushed back to see her, but he was too late and she had already passed away. Edward was not allowed at her funeral, and her dad blamed him for her death. Her father was so bitter and angry that he procured 6 graves, had them dug and filled, never saying which grave Anna was buried in. Dude. He also never installed a gravestone.
That's like one of those dads where you just have to tell him, like, you can't marry your own kid, bro. Let her go. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Settle down.
Unfortunately, Edward traveled back to Baltimore where he attended West Point.
Okay.
But because of his broken heart, he became an alcoholic and a drug addict, which opium dens were common in this time period.
Oh.
That young soldier was Edgar Allan Poe.
Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. Okay.
Yep. And Anna was his love, Annabelle Lee.
Oh.
Yep. Locals say that a lady in white roams the cemetery at night and is most likely Anna Revenue.
Oh, that's so sad. It really is sad.
It is, and that's why he was such a tortured soul.
Dang.
Yeah. So,
jeez. I mean, yeah.
Did I make you speechless?
A little bit. A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that was pretty neat to just sit in and be like, wow, this is interesting, you know?
Just in case y'all don't know, Kristen loves Poe for show.
Poe for show. I am obsessed. I love that man. I mean, I love his writings.
There you go.
Yeah. Nevermore. He was a very good storyteller and very morbid and just right up our alley.
Kind of hand in hand.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Our last stop of the evening was on Magazine Street, where we visited the old city jail. The jail was under renovation while we were there, but you could still feel the ominous presence of those of the past. The jail operated from 1802 to 1939, which is 137 years. Most of the original structure, like the cells and wardens' quarters, are still intact.
Sorry for my dogs, y'all.
And sorry for the throat clearing.
Okay.
I've been talking for, almost an hour, so.
Yeah, you're good. It's all good. I gave myself a sore throat the other day at work, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. The jail was where some of the worst criminals in Charleston lived and died. Sadly, it also housed men, women, and children that were wrongly jailed.
Oh.
And the grounds were shared by a hospital, a workhorse, and a poorhouse. And across the street currently is the housing district. So it's still in the poorer part of Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
In 1855, the building expanded to house the growing population. But oddly enough, in 1886, an earthquake hit the area. Earthquakes are not as prevalent as they are on the West Coast here.
No, but when they do happen, they are fucking huge.
Yeah, they're a lot of damage. The jail also, it housed many Civil War prisoners along with a man named Denmark Vesey, who was accused of planning a slave revolt and had been executed in 1822.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. The jail also kept high seas pirates who had been found pillaging the streets of Charleston. Our most notable prisoners are the Fisher duo,
okay.
Miss Lavinia and John, her husband. Now, they were charged with highway robbery, and this is where our story really begins. Our true crime begins.
The true crime comes in.
Usually the true crime is like the whole story, but
Nah, I liked it.
This one, yeah. So, but before I tell you the story of Lavinia, I will tell you that visitors to the old city jail claim to have been choked by hands, scratched, bitten, and poked,
Oh.
And they've also seen doors slam and objects move. And when we walked away from the building to go back into town into our car, we went down an alley, and down this alley at the other end was a big white church. On the other side. I like those kind of photos where there's like alleyway and then a lighted up building. I take several of them like that. So I took this picture and it was white. But when I looked at the photo I had taken, there was an ominous green light shining all around it. That light was not seen by us. We did not see this green light.
What the fuck?
It was only captured in the photo.
Oh, okay.
And I felt like that was like Charleston saying, here comes the end of your ghost tour. Now let me show you all of the poltergeists. Here they are.
Here you go.
So it was kind of weird, but I have that photo. I sent it to our drive. If you
okay, now I need to see it. I'm gonna go look at it right now.
So last but not in the slightest the least, we come to the story of Lavinia Fisher, who is said to be the first woman serial killer in the United States, but folks argue over that title because she was never charged with murder.
Okay, that's not just like green. That's like fucking Slimer green.
Yes. And there was no green in sight except for the bushes, right?
That's like literally like neon, y'all.
Like I can't make that up. That is what came out of that photo.
Fucking crazy.
I tried to take another one and it did the same thing. I could not get the photo of the white church.
That's fucking
it would not capture it the way I was seeing it.
Damn. Creepy.
I know. Yeah. So did you hear that part about Lavinia?
No. I missed it because I was like, holy shit.
So Lavinia Fisher is said to be the first woman serial killer in the US, but a lot of people argue over that title because she was never charged with actual murder.
Right. A lot of it is alleged.
Right. This is all legend, and history has been so convoluted. We don't really know what's what.
Exactly.
But Lavinia was born in 1793. She lived in Charleston, South Carolina with her husband, John Fisher. They owned a lodging facility called the 6 Mile Wayfarer House. It was called this due to the fact that the lodging facility was 6 miles outside of Charleston.
All right.
Yeah. It was a very interesting time, and lots of travelers would come and go, especially during wartime. The couple had no children, primarily because they were pretty busy keeping up with the hotel. And Lavinia got into this way of living where she would go after people for wealth, and children, they could get in the way of that, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
they're kind of,
hey, mommy's got to kill this person. You can't be around, you know? And they'd be like, oh, mommy, let me help.
Oh, God. That'd be so bad.
That would be terrible. I'm glad they didn't have any children.
Yeah, seriously. Holy shit.
It is said that Lavinia killed men, then robbed them for their money. They had a little gang, her husband, and a couple of dudes.
Damn.
She would invite the men for tea and question them about their lives. And since she was a very beautiful, charming woman, it was easy for her to talk to these men and find out about their financial status and where they came from and who they were.
Damn.
So once she found a victim she wanted to rob, she would simply poison their next cup of tea and send them to bed. Folks say that while they were sleeping or dying from the poison, Lavinia would pull a lever, collapsing their bed and dropping the victim into a pit. Some say the pit had spikes, some say it was dirt floor, but the bodies were piling up under there.
Yikes.
Yeah. If a man was not wealthy enough for her to kill and rob, she would simply tell them there was no room at the inn, and they would go on their way.
Wow. Lucky guys. They fucking
I'd say lucky for them if they were poor. Like,
yeah.
Be a poor man going to this hotel.
Yeah, you don't want to stay here.
No. The evidence kept piling up against her, and folks around town kept noticing that men were disappearing and never checking out of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Men would go in and they would never leave. Sounds familiar. The Shining?
Oh. Yee.
Or Hotel California.
Yes, Hotel California.
Yeah.
Yee.
There were a lot of complaints about the hotel, the comings and goings, and these folks that had tea and were interrogated and not allowed to stay at the hotel would speak of their encounters. And soon enough, word got around that something nefarious was going on at the lodging facility. And eventually, Lavinia and John were arrested and charged with only highway robbery, which was a capital offense at the time.
Right.
So they were never charged with murder, even though they did find 2 bodies in the pit. They could not prove that Lavinia killed them.
Okay.
So,
but the pit was there.
There was a pit, and they found 2 bodies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lavinia and her husband were sentenced to execution by hanging, but her husband never faced his sentence because he accepted the counsel of a reverend. So I'm guessing he found God, and they let him go.
Okay.
But Lavinia refused to seek counsel by the reverend.
Mm-hmm.
So they executed her on February 4th, 1820.
Okay.
Many folks say they can still hear her voice in empty rooms and have actually seen her walking the halls of the jail in her wedding dress, which is what she was executed and buried in.
Jesus. Okay.
It's unknown how many men or people she murdered, but it is rumored to be a staggering number. She is quoted in saying before her execution, "If any of you have a message for the devil, tell me now, for I will be seeing him soon."
Yee.
Lavinia was only 27 years old.
The magic number.
I know. It's creepy, right?
I wonder if she was the first of the 27-year-olds.
That would be interesting to find out.
Very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes, dude. So I know there's like a lot of different stories about her too, and like the way that they were killed. There's one other story that's totally alleged. I have no clue.
All of this is alleged because...
But that back then, what I've heard is that they couldn't kill married women. And so that they killed the husband first. And then she was a widow and then killed her.
Oh.
But it's all alleged. Who the fuck knows? But like, I mean, there's a workaround.
We won't know. But this was the story I found.
Yeah.
These were the places I went to.
Hell yeah.
And I think it was well worth all of it. We had a really good time.
And you got a whole story out of it. I mean, okay. It's
a
win-win-win.
Yes.
Winning
and twinning.
Yes. Go buy the hats, people. They're cool. It's embroidered.
Seriously, and they're comfortable. Like they're
like
quality.
The Otto brand, OTTO brand.
Been wearing the mess out of not wet mess out of them. And this is the first time I wore my ship bag one though, but I figured it was it was appropriate.
I can't wear it to work.
I can't wear it out.
I'll get in trouble at work. I mean, I can wear it here.
I definitely can't wear it to work.
Yeah, you're not allowed to wear any of them to work.
No, I can't. No fun. I know, right?
Yikes, Lavinia.
Yikes, Charleston.
That also just reminds Dwight forever. When Ben and I would like talk about having kids, he always wanted us to name a daughter Maleva.
I'm sorry.
Exactly. What? You heard it. Maleva. Like, that's such a beautiful name. And I'm like, no, it's not. Sorry, not sorry.
Maybe for a plant genus.
Maybe. Or a disease.
Or a fungi.
Anyway. Lavinia, you just reminded me of Maleva. But Lavinia is a really pretty name.
It is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I will also just add for Charleston, like we went and saw one of the largest oak trees. It's like 300 to 400 years old.
Nice.
It's called the Angel Oak Tree. It's beautiful. I went to Rainbow Row. There's such pretty colorful homes. And we went to the oldest liquor store. It has been working since 1686, even through all of the prohibitions.
It was everything. Like, fuck your prohibition.
And it's a tiny little place, but it's still in service. People
I was just telling Ben, we need to get into the booze business because that's where the money's at.
Dude, if you could have a distillery, heck yeah.
I mean, Ohio laws. We could probably do it.
I know you could do it here.
You're like, what laws? There's no laws against alcohol. All right. Well, on that note,
Charleston's a wonderful place. Go see it.
I really want to go there, so I'll add it to the nearer future, I'll say.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Until next time, ta-ta.
For now.
Thanks for listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts. If you love our podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. This helps us more than you know. If you really love us and want to support us, go to our website at www.crimecoffeeandcrafts.com. From there, you can join our Patreon, shop our merch, and find us on social media.